Hey, and welcome to the video. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss another great video like this one. Let's get into it. Today, we're going to be talking about how to teach your baby to crawl in 5 easy steps. Crawling is a major milestone for babies, and it's a great way for them to explore their surroundings and develop their motor skills. In your baby's first year, each milestone is an exciting new adventure. One of these milestones is your baby learning how to crawl. Since all infants are different, there isn't one set age when they might start crawling. When it comes to reaching developmental milestones, there's usually a range instead of a set age. That's because all babies are different. Regarding crawling, one study showed that most infants started belly crawling around 8 months old and progressed to hands and knees crawling by 10 months old. However, not all babies belly crawl first. Some babies go straight to hands and knees crawling instead. There's usually no reason to be concerned if your baby is a little late with a milestone, but if they're not showing any interest in crawling or walking by 12 months old, it may be time to discuss your baby's progress with a pediatrician. As you're waiting for your baby to start crawling, keep in mind that there isn't always one way to crawl. There are various crawling styles that your baby may learn. Some of these crawling styles may look entirely different than your traditional hands and knee crawling. But this is part of each baby's unique development. So before we go over the 5 steps on how to help your baby with crawling, let's go over some of the crawling styles. With hands and knees crawling, babies push down on their hands and knees, and then they move one hand and one knee at the same time. Bear crawling is when babies crawl with their hands and knees but keep them straight instead of bending them. Belly crawling is when babies drag themselves across the floor on their bellies instead of pushing themselves up. Scooting is when babies scoot across the floor on their bottom by using their arms to move. Crab crawling is when babies move sideways with their hands like a crab. And with the rolling crawl, babies roll to move across the floor. Most babies start crawling between 6 and 9 months old. However, some babies may start crawling earlier or later. There's no need to worry if your baby doesn't start crawling until they're 10 or 11 months old. Here are a few signs that your baby is ready to crawl. They can roll over from front to back and back to front. They can sit up without support. They can bear weight on their hands and knees. And they can push themselves up from their stomachs. Now, let's go over the 5 easy steps to help your baby with crawling. Tummy time is one of the most beneficial activities to do with your baby and can be an effective way of preparing them for crawling. Tummy time has many health benefits, including improved motor development. Some babies seem to dislike tummy time when they're little, but you can start with your newborn right away to help them get used to it over time. Many parents choose to place their baby in a walker or bouncer to encourage crawling or walking. Even though these can be a great way to keep a baby busy for a period of time, they may actually prevent your baby from developing the strength they need to crawl and walk and can even be a health hazard. Instead of placing them in their bouncer or walker, let them explore and get some time playing on the floor. When your baby is ready to move, one of the best ways to encourage them is to give them something to crawl towards. Some parents try this by putting the baby down and placing themselves just out of reach so that the baby is encouraged to crawl to their parent. You can also try this with their favorite toy or stuffed animal. It will be more challenging for babies to start crawling if they don't have a safe space to practice. This is part of why baby proofing is so important. Encourage them to explore by having a designated area with enough room to practice moving around. Place some toys in the area to keep them interested in exploring. If they're in a chair or playpen the majority of the time, it will be more difficult for them to start crawling. What better way to teach your baby to crawl than showing them how it's done? Even at a young age, babies love interacting and playing with their caregivers. If your baby watches you or a sibling crawl on the floor, they may imitate your movements. This can also be a great bonding time with your little one. Some babies are perfectly happy to scoot around on their bottoms or roll around instead of crawling. If your baby doesn't seem interested in crawling, don't worry. they may eventually decide to crawl on their own. Crawling is a great milestone for babies, but it's not essential. If your baby doesn't start crawling until they're 10 or 11 months old, don't worry. They'll still be able to develop and grow at their own pace. We hope this video was beneficial for you in helping your baby to learn to crawl. Don't forget to visit momswhothink.com to learn more. Thanks for watching.